very, very first show. A very warm welcome, and of course it's Friday, the 1st of April 2022, a day and time that will certainly go down in history, our very first show of the Untold Truths.
And look, it's April Fool's too.
I'm telling you.
Isn't this good? Good
and
day
of
to
course,
start.
we are broadcasting from Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies. A lot of you know us as the Caribbean, the jewel of the Caribbean, beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. A warm welcome, broadcasting from Central.
Correct. You know, everybody, it's been a little journey. You know, we had to get everything tested and everything. But you know what? We're ready to go. And we hope that you will enjoy the program today. We will like it if you start receiving the knowledge that you've wanted to receive. And if we do not cover a topic that you would like to cover, please WhatsApp us at 1-868-354-4459. WhatsApp us. Tell us a topic that you've always wanted to hear about, but then nobody talks about. And that's what this program's about. We put it together, and it's about bringing out the untold truth.
Certainly.
You know?
And we also would like you to engage with regards to you calling us, connecting, talking to us about your concerns, the problems you may be facing, where you can have that one-on-one interaction with us, and Master Eric will be more than happy to intervene and, give you the answers that you are seeking right here on the Untold Truths.
And you.
So it's happening. What we're going to do, of course, we're going to start our conversation, but more importantly, it's important that you know at around, let's say, quarter to the top of the hour, we're going to be opening up the telephone line, and as Master Eric indicated, you can connect with us. You can send us a WhatsApp message as well at 1-868-354-4459. Looking forward to that already. Master Eric, let's get started. It's all about the Untold Truths, our very first episode.
Well, there's a topic, and there's been a lot of people in the last few weeks, it's been coming, and they have this situation. And the situation is everything in their life just stopped.
Yeah.
Everything. Even some people, they have animal farms. They're raising livestock. The livestock, all of it just died. And then they're having quarrels. They're having the male children in the family are having serious problems. And then there are families where the first son dies, then the second son, and it keeps going down the road.
Yeah.
So some people, they say, are we cursed?
Yeah.
And then they say, what's a curse? Well, a curse can be very many different things. But the first thing I'd look at is when I start talking with the family is, did your ancestors, especially Indian and other beliefs in the countries, did they do blood sacrifice? And they say, well, I think they did. But once they start digging into the ancestral bloodline, they find out that their ancestors used to give blood sacrifice. Now, I am not saying to anyone in the world that blood sacrifice is bad. It may not be my cup of tea, but I can't say it's not right for them.
Well, the thing is, Master Eric, if it's been part of the family tradition and part of their culture, and it's what was introduced to them, and they understand what it's all about, it means that, yes, they can carry it on. And of course, who are we to judge what anybody's doing? But when you have no knowledge, you have no understanding, you don't know what to do to carry on the traditions, as you rightfully said, there are people who are working very hard, they're paying bills, they are trying to get on in life to be successful, but there is no growth. There is no harmony in the home. You can't taste success. things just seem to be going wrong day after day, and then they say, well, I'm the unlucky one, I'm the black sheep, I'm the one who is experiencing, and you're looking around and seeing others flourishing and things are happening, and you know in your heart you're doing everything right to make life right, but something is just not right.
And everything's stagnant.
Exactly.
So, what we do, when I sit down with them, we go over the history. And then there are different levels of blood sacrifice.
Okay.
And each level has a different consequence if you actually stop without ending it properly.
Uh-huh.
That's where the afflictions, some people call it a curse, will come on you or the family. So let me give you an example. Let's look at blood sacrifice first. A lot of beliefs out there, they say, oh God, that's the devil.
Right. That's
Okay,
the first
that's
thing.
bad.
Right.
Because they don't know.
Good.
But then they don't read their Bible, or they don't read the book that's in their belief.
That's where we say knowledge is power.
Correct.
Knowledge is
Because
power.
if you look at the Christian Bible, you know, I was raised a Christian, I believe in Jesus Christ. And when you look back at Abraham, Cain and Abel, all of them back then gave a sheep.
Correct.
And where the split was when Abel and Cain was competing. One gave a sheep, one gave what he grew on the land. And it happened to where God picked Abel, to where that was with what he grew. So Cain got mad and killed Abel. And then if you think about it, that was the first burial that was ever documented in the Bible. He didn't know what to do with the body. So he ended up burying the body. So this has been going on for ages. And it's in a lot of beliefs. But there is a time from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age, if you talk modern, to where it's changed. And a lot of people, they do blood, not because of their ancestors, but some people do it and their ancestors were never involved. They do it for obia,
Okay.
black magic,
All right.
to try to get what they want or try to take somebody down. So I don't want to drift off, but it is part of the program. Now, the problem we have today is that your great-grandfather, then your grandfather, then your father, they were doing it. Now today, a lot of people, they changed their faith.
They changed
And
their
they may have
faith.
went from Hindu to Christian to Muslim. And that's fine.
Or, Master Eric, in some cases, you may marry someone. You get
Correct.
married to someone who says, listen, I don't know anything about this. I've never been exposed to this, and I don't want my kids now. I don't want our kids to be part of this, and we don't want to be part of this. So it happens for many different reasons, you know?
Right. So what's happening is that if you're going to end it, you have to end it properly.
Correct, the right way.
Now, if you don't end it properly, there are consequences.
What are those consequences, Master Eric?
Just what we're talking about. See, whoever you're giving the blood to, whether it's an archangel, which there are some Christians that do that,
Okay,
or in Hinduism, they may have a deity
okay.
that they offer the blood to. Now, if your ancestors was given them their offerings every year or every 3 years, then that angel or deity is expecting it.
Right.
It's a deal that was given.
Okay.
Now, when I talk about a deal, first of all, before you actually can end it properly, a lot of people, they'll go to their spiritual leader and they'll say, this is what's going on. This is what my family's been doing. And they 9 times out of 10, they'll say, No problem. We can end it. Well, guess what? That's the wrong answer, people. No spiritual leader, myself or anybody, can give you that permission to actually end that puja. Now, the reason is, Zelisa, how do we know, as a human in this age right now, know the reason why their ancestors 5 or 6 generations back
Started this in the first place.
place?
Exactly. For what reason and for what purpose?
Now, the next thing is, what if the first generation that started it, somebody was dying, and they did that blood offering to save the life of that person?
Okay.
So now, how many generations would owe for that act back then?
So let me intervene here. Would it be in that scenario, that particular case, that individual would have made a promise on
Correct.
behalf of all my
For the
grandchildren?
family.
Exactly. So this will go on from generation to generation.
Correct.
So made that promise on behalf of the entire family to come the lineage.
Correct. So, and then the future generations, they don't know that.
They don't know. They're not aware. Time
Right.
change. People change.
And when people passed it on from generation to generation, it became more like a tradition.
Correct.
Okay?
Part of
And-
the culture of the family.
Correct. And every year they would do it. Now, we come to the part to where part of the family either don't believe in blood sacrifice or they've changed their belief.
Right.
Now,
Or they choose, I just don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be committed to anything like this.
correct.
I don't want to have the time. I don't have the money because it takes all of this.
Correct. No, it's very expensive because buying a perfect animal, flawless, everything else, it takes a lot. Now, what people don't understand, there's a lot to doing this. And, you know, you got to pick an animal. And then that animal has to be kept separate from all other animals. You have to feed it special. You have to bathe that animal every day. You have to perfume the animal. You have to give a flower wreath around that animal every day.
For how
And
long now
Tiki.
are you doing this?
It depends on who you're giving the sacrifice to.
Okay.
If it's for a female, you would do it for a female deity. You would do it for 9 days prior.
Okay.
Some are 5 days prior. So there's a lot involved in doing this. Then, let's say the family said they don't want to do it. Then the responsible thing is the oldest male that's still living within the family bloodline should do what they call, if you're Hindu, you would do a Shanti Puja. That means
Shanti means peace.
you're ending it in peace.
Okay.
Now, here's where everybody makes some mistakes. And I'm a minister also.
Correct.
But I also know the boundaries within being a minister. All right? One of the boundaries is they'll say, come on over. You can become Christian. That's true. But the mistake is they say once you're baptized, that bloodline is no longer in existence. That is not so.
Well, can you clarify that and give us some clarity today? Because that's what a lot of people think, and it's good now that we can talk about it, so that people with your issues and your problems that you're facing and all the disasters and the storms that you're in, you can identify. More importantly, get help.
Now, let me go into this, people. Once you consider being baptized, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong, you are giving your life to Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And the reason Christ came to the world was to die for our sins, not our bloodline. One does not mess with the other. And the bloodline is very strong. So once you get baptized, yes, that gives you a clean slate at that moment to start living a better life, a more righteous life, and try to do the best you can for everyone. But, again, that has nothing to do with ending the actual bloodline ancestral. Now, the oldest male of the living of the family, it would be his responsibilities, Zelisa, to shanty the bloodline for all future generations to
So,
come.
let me step in here. Let's just say that eldest son decides, I'm not going to be part of this. I'm not going to do what you guys are asking me. What then are the consequences, or what would be the next step the family member should take?
Well, the next step is, I've had many cases like that.
Okay.
And you can't force somebody to do something
You
against their
can't.
will.
Exactly.
And that is not religious or spiritual if you do that. So the next step is you say, fine, I want you to understand that it'll be the second son in line.
Okay.
Now, when he shanties, it does not shanty you. Because you just passed the oldest son.
Right.
So now he's on his own.
He's unprotected, as we would
Correct.
say. Okay.
And then the second son, when he does it, will do all future children under him and future generations.
Okay.
So they don't have to worry about it. So now here's the next situation that we normally ran into. Is that a Hindu pundit or a priest or a preacher, they try to give the permission to shanty. They can't. We just explained it 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
They have no idea why it was done in the first place. Many
Exactly.
generations ago.
Even the family members are not aware, perhaps, over the years,
Correct.
time change
Now in
circumstances.
Hinduism,
Right.
right? I have to make it clear because I'm going to jump around.
Okay.
In Hinduism, they have what they call a Shakti. And a Shakti is a deity that will actually manifest on a person. And then you could ask, but here's the next problem. Where are you going to find a real one?
Well, that's the question that I was actually coming to ask, because I think it's important that people recognize and understand that now anybody and everybody says, oh, I'm getting Shakti, or I have a gift. How do we then identify authentic, real, and unreal? Because some people
There's
are
a
so
lot of
good
people-
at tricks
Right, there's
and
a lot of
manipulating
Correct.
people.
There's a lot of people who fake it. Okay?
They're good actors
Now-
and actresses.
There's there's ways to find out. And
What
one,
are the ways,
you
Master
need to
Eric?
be experienced for one. Number one, for a common person, a layman's person that really don't have much knowledge, if you're walking up to one that perceives they're manifesting a Shakti, well, first of all your paws and your hair will raise on your body if they're real.
If they're real.
If they're real.
But let's just say it's real, however, but that's interesting because.
Also,
But then, do we
is-
not? This is the point I need to ask, or the question I need to ask rather than the point that I want to make, is that sometimes people will say when they feel evil or they feel uneasy that there is a lot of negativity around. You follow
And
what
their
I'm
paws
saying?
were raised there too.
Yes. So how do we determine then?
experience.
Okay.
So let's go one step lower for a real layman's person. Is that Shakti, that deity, when it speaks to you, are they just speaking English? That's one thing to look for.
Okay.
Or are
So
they
language.
Or are they only speaking Hindi?
Okay.
Also, will they speak multiple languages?
Okay.
A language that is not known to that person. See, these are things that you look for.
All right.
Now, I'm not saying you go in with a negative attitude, but when you're in that place and they start to actually manifest, the first thing I look for is how they speak,
Okay.
one, the energy I'm feeling, two, and then to really test them. What most of the Shakti temples do not understand, and they cannot prove me wrong. Do you know the deities have their own language?
Oh.
Ah. So now when I go in, and if I'm just attending a place and somebody manifests, and they call me up, first of all, I'm going to start speaking their language. And if I get no response, or the so-called deity asks for you to speak in English, doesn't that give you an indication?
But Master Eric, it will happen to you, and you've used you as an example because you've got the knowledge, you've got the gift, the know-how. But the ordinary person like myself who doesn't have a gift, or you follow what I'm saying, or who has no knowledge whatsoever to question things.
But the thing is, Zelisa, haven't I asked on TV for people to come and learn?
Well, numerous times on my television program you would ask.
And are
openly.
the religious leaders coming? No. One, their head too big. They got an ego. I don't have an ego. I'll learn from you as you learn from me. You know, and that's how the world should be. But you need to know. So and then also.
So is it that you should have that sort of feeling, that intuition, that discerning spirit that says something is not right here?
Correct. From what I just told you, if they're asking you to speak in English, that's an indication, people. That's not what you call a full Shakti. Now, there might be an energy on them, but it's not full. Full is where the individual totally blacks out. You don't hear, you don't see, you don't know what's going on. And that deity took over your body.
You also use the word energy.
Correct.
Explain to us, what is this energy you're talking about?
Okay, energy. Christians call it the Holy Spirit,
Okay.
the Holy Ghost. In Hinduism, they call it the Shakti.
Okay.
It's the power of God
All right.
in whatever form he wants to come down as. When that energy reaches inside your body, Zelisa, it happens within less than a second. Some people, it starts from their feet and comes up like a freight train. And you totally black out. You don't know what's going on. You'll see people in churches that they'll stand up and they're speaking in tongues. Right? This happens all over the world. Right? That is an energy that is trying to relay a message to the people that is within that space. But the problem is the people don't understand that language. So most people, they keep their distance and they're saying, this might be evil. Or the preacher might say they might have a demon inside of them.
Exactly.
Okay? But that's very premature.
Okay.
Because 9 times out of 10, when, let's say, Shelter Baptist and all of them, they come. When they come within our space, they start to raise. Because the Spirit's happy. The Spirit wants to talk. The Spirit knows that it can have a conversation with me.
Okay.
Whatever language they're coming at, there is a neutral language. This is what I'm trying to tell you, everybody. And I will be carrying a conversation on with them and translating to the people in the room at the same time.
Understood.
So it's important to find that real divine energy Shakti to find out, are you allowed to end this family bloodline properly. Now, out of doing about 4,000 of them, Zelisa, I've seen where the Shakti only 3 times said no. They still owed one more to end it.
Owed what?
One more blood sacrifice. To complete whatever was promised from 7 generations ago or longer.
Okay.
Okay? And once that was done, then they came and we did the shanty. Okay? So people, don't be misled, don't be misguided. Now, Zelisa, we have another situation. What if a person is going through serious situations in their life? Now they're going to people for help. They don't have a family bloodline. The family never gave blood before.
Okay.
But the people are insisting that in order to get over it, they need to give a blood sacrifice. Right? We have this situation. Now, when this situation comes up, what I found out by talking to hundreds and hundreds of them, I say, okay, did that person explain to you the seriousness, the consequences, and what you may have to keep up? And your generations now?
Your duty, your responsibility, and not only yourself. Master Eric is explaining to us the commitment that you are going to make on behalf of those innocent people who are not aware of the promises you are making for them.
And then if the spiritual leader at that time says, oh no, this is just a one-time deal. Again, who is he to say that on behalf of who?
Point taken.
Okay, so people, you really need to understand that doing things the right way, you'll get results. If you start getting misled, now I'm not saying I'm the authority of anything. I'm just saying I have over 30 years experience in this. I can help guide you. You don't have to stay with me, but if you have questions and you want to WhatsApp in and try to get answers, no matter where you are in the world, I know people. I could get you to good people that can get you through this situation.
That would get help.
Yeah, and if they need me to be via WhatsApp and help guide them through it, that's fine. But the thing is, people, don't start something you can't keep up.
That you have no knowledge of, that you can't control, that you don't know what you're doing. Always be sure and make sure that you've got the answers in order that you understand what's happening, what you're committing your life to. It's very important.
Now, one thing I want people to clearly understand, and I have to make this clear because if I don't say it, I'm doing wrong. A deity or an angel, if your family did do sacrifice, they don't punish you. They don't. What they do, some Hindus, they give their blood sacrifice, a fowl cock, to who they call Sanganidhi Baba. He's the land master of the earth. He's the one in control of the land. So they give him offering for protection, your land to grow your crops. A lot of the old cane farmers here in Trinidad used to give an offering before they planted, and they also gave one before they harvest.
For the land.
Correct.
So that they'll...
Correct.
Okay.
So, when he doesn't receive it, you don't die. He just sits there standing on your land with your hands like this. And he let whatever wants to come in and whatever to get going. So your protection's not there. Your health may go down because of what came on your property. So he doesn't hurt you. It's the human who backed off the agreement by not doing the sacrifice.
Okay.
All right? Then you have other sacrifices, which there's one, she's very powerful, and her name is Mother Permissory. Now there are times she doesn't make joke. And I'm not saying she's evil. She's very strict. So let me give you an example, Zelisa. I went to a Hindu funeral, and the last rites and everything was being done. And before they loaded the body into the hearse, I look up and I'm seeing her. Mm-hmm. And it was the oldest son that was dead, mm-hmm. deceased. And they were ready to take him to the cremation site. I said, oh my God. So as they loaded him up, I told the second brother, there were 4 brothers. I said, hey, and I named his name. And I said, we need to talk. Mm-hmm. This is serious. He said, well, tell me now. Tell me now. What's going on? I said, no. After the bandara.
Okay.
After you're done with the bandara, which people that's watching, if you're Christian or whatever, that's a ritual also that they do 13 days after. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that'll finalize. And then you will do your monthly and your yearly offerings for a year.
Right.
Now, I wanted to be polite. So you don't want to bring up news and take their mind off of the cremation and things they were doing.
Yeah, the moment of,
So he said, no,
departing.
no. Tell me now. What is it? I said, okay. You know the blood sacrifice that your family used to do? Hog puja? And they said, yes. I said, you didn't do it.
What was this hog puja?
A hog puja is one that they sacrifice the hog.
To get blood?
Correct.
Okay, understood.
Now, that's why that older son died. It was not done. Now, some that you give blood offering to, if they don't get the blood, they'll take blood. Now, I'm not saying she's a wicked deity. I'm not. Mm-hmm. So, he laughed. And he actually told me, he was Hindu, and he said, I don't believe in that. Mm-hmm. I believe in Sai Baba.
Okay.
And I said, trust me, Sai Baba is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But Sai Baba has nothing to do with bloodline.
Correct.
Just like Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Right? He laughed and said, no, I'm good. Do you know Zelisa went to another funeral 30 days later, and it was him? The next son, the next brother, he laughed it off too. 45 days later, he's dead.
So 3 brothers.
The 4th brother come running because he saw what was happening. Mm-hmm. He knew the warnings that was coming up, and he came. Mm-hmm. And we did the shanty. We got permission first.
How did you get permission?
We actually went and asked Mother herself.
Okay.
Okay?
So there was an energy that came and
Correct.
you questioned. Okay,
and gave
understood.
the permission.
Okay.
Now, she's not easy because, you know, I'm very close to a lot of them because of my meditation and what I do. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me and she said, I'm only tolerating you because of your devotion. Okay, that man, I was on the fence. So, what is a person that don't even do devotion? Okay, so what I'm trying to say, people, know what you're getting into if this is brought to your attention and they're saying this is what you need to do to fix the situation that you're in. Mm-hmm. Now, Zelisa, I'm going to be honest. I have found out that the way my guru taught me, there is no situation that you do have to resort to that to get your results. And this is where knowledge is power.
It is.
And future programs, people, we're going to be giving you knowledge, what to look for. This is what it is. This is where you can reference it. And clearly in every belief, we're going to be covering every belief, okay? Because we want you not to be independent. I mean, we don't want you to be dependent on others. And that's where we get misguided sometimes.
Sometimes because you're so desperate or because you're in such
Correct.
the middle of a challenge and a storm, and you're seeking and you want help, that you really, out of innocence and ignorance, you make the wrong choices that could be detrimental.
And I've always told everybody, people, when you're in any situation that you're in life, never make your decision based on emotion.
Correct.
You'll end up in a predicament that may even be worse. Okay, you have to remain calm. You have to think clearly. And it's good to have somebody with you that can kind of leverage and balance you
True.
at that time. Okay, so you don't sway to that emotional decision. But again, once you get the permission, then there's a shanty. If you're Hindu, if you're Christian, there are prayers and a ritual in the Christian way to end it also. Zelisa.
So let me ask,
And
you
in
being the authority,
Arabic faith, Muslim.
you being the authority that you are, the knowledge that you've gained over the years in terms of different religions and things like that, can you then help a Muslim, a Hindu, a Catholic, a Buddhist?
We do now.
Okay.
And the reason is, and do you know how we're so successful? One, we don't disagree with none of you. I believe in every path to God. I believe that everyone should receive help. And when people come to us, then you should also be open to suggestions. But Zelisa, how
have
we
to have
make
an
them
open
comfortable? You've been in my places, our 2 locations, and especially the first location. When you walk in the room, you see things with Muslim, Hindu, Baba,
that's,
Jesus.
I mean, every time you come on my program, I welcome you and I introduce you. Sitaram, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, Sairam, Bandagi Sai, because I understand and recognize this is what sets you apart from others, you know. It's the knowledge that you have, not just in one faith, but in all. And that you respect and you recognize as well and you embrace.
Well, the first thing, and we had the show on it today on TV. I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Solid topic. I think we've got to bring that topic here as well on the podcast.
I don't want to be a hypocrite because if you're a Christian, right? Doesn't the Bible state, "Thou shalt not judge"? A preacher, a priest, does not have the power or the authority to shun someone else.
I agree with that.
And doesn't it also say, in layman's terms, treat those as you would want to be treated yourself?
Yes.
Doesn't it say also, love thy neighbor?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in
So-
what you give is what you're going to get in return.
Correct. So, my guru, when I studied under him for 10 years, he taught me every major faith because he was taught that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, once you stay singular, you will not be able to help people.
Well, Master Eric, I want to keep up with our commitment to our viewers wherever you may be in the world, whether you're here in Trinidad and Tobago, in Australia, in New Zealand, Canada, in India, Pakistan, wherever you may be, or in South America, and you would like to ask a message or you've got a comment, feel free to send us your messages on WhatsApp, 1-868-354-4459, or you're free to call. You're welcome to call, and Master Eric will be more than happy to answer those questions or concerns you may have. That number again, 1-868 354-4459. Now, for those of you who would like to make an appointment as well to meet with Master Eric, you can call that number as well. And, someone will return that call and, talk to you about how you can get help. Again, that number, 1-868-354-4459. Master Eric?
I'm just answering a question here.
Sure.
A person kept saying they were trying to get us. So I was just typing him how to reach us.
Excellent.
Okay? But people, we want your topics. Because I know there's a lot of you, whether you're going to a mosque, a church, a temple, and you're hearing the same thing over and over and over. But you have questions. But when you ask the questions, you're getting thrown back at because they're trying to make you feel like you're challenging them. You're challenging their knowledge, which you're not. You're just asking a simple question.
Correct.
And we are open. I will research. I will tell you where I get my answers, what book, what paragraph, what page. So please contact us. But Zelisa, this is the topic, the blood prayers, that a lot of people are actually, they don't know. And why? Why aren't the Hindu pundits explaining this to them? Why isn't some of the Christian sects of Christianity? Why aren't they explaining things?
Well, the point is, the truth is, do you want to stay in bondage? Because this is a sort of bondage. It's a commitment that you're making for your life, and you are risking the lives of the generations to come. Your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. It's an investment that you are making, and are you going to reap positive benefits or are you going to reap negative benefits? Do you want your lineage, do you want your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to suffer, or would you want them to have success?
Correct. Then sometimes people have the same problems even if they stay in the bloodline and continue the prayers. Now here's what we found. Even on the Muslim, there was a situation to where everything died on the property, Zelisa. It was a leased land of 90 acres, and they were Muslim. And when we got on the property, lo and behold, we was drawn half a mile away to a spot in the woods. That was approximately 80 feet inside the woods. We had to take cutlass and cut a path to get to it.
Okay.
And we showed them where they did their prayers, the blood prayers. And it was said that the blood prayers wasn't done correctly.
Wow, so you actually found a spot, and then on
And the
top
old
of
man, he was about 78 years old.
yeah.
He
Wow.
said to everybody, he was amazed because that's where it was done 15 years ago.
Wow.
That energy was still there on that spot.
So what happens in a situation like that? What do you do? How can you help?
What happened was we brought the energy and the Shakti talked to them. And then what I didn't know when we got there was that the Shakti stated to the old man, "Go get him now." The imam that actually did the puja, the prayers. We didn't know he lived on the other side of the farm. They came. Now, this is where I'm saying it's a real Shakti. Now, when the imam came, of course, he's going to be a little standoffish. You understand? Because it's a different thing happening there. He's not used to it. He don't believe in it. So that's when the actual Shakti, the power, talked ancient Arabic to him
Ah,
and explained everything,
yes.
what went wrong. And he told them redo it.
Okay.
Do you know when they did, which I don't have a part of, but the situation, You know, it was rectified within 2 days.
Wow.
Everything started growing back on the property.
After years of problems.
Correct. So see, it's either you walk away from it, you end up in problems. You change your belief, you walked away, and you didn't end it, you have problems.
So that's when it's important that I want our viewers to understand. In a situation like that, ensure that you do it properly and then
Right.
walk away.
Now, another thing I want to let you know. If you're Hindu, don't let someone come and do your prayers and it only takes an hour or an hour and a half. If you do a proper Shanti Puja, non-stop, is 6 hours.
What? 6 hours?
That is a serious prayers. And there's over 3,600 steps in doing that prayers.
Wow.
Okay? So,
What are some of the preparations then that would be necessary to, as you say, shanti or find peace or final, allow it to be? What are some of the preparations that people should expect to have knowledge of?
one, you would have to fast a minimum of 21 days.
Okay, so 3 weeks of
21
fasting.
days. There is 3 pages of items you have to purchase to offer that deity on the deity.
Okay.
And then there are different ways. You'll have to have dry coconuts, green coconuts. There's a lot of preparation. Setting up the prayer area prior to a Shanti Puja takes 3 hours.
3 hours.
It is very tedious. So, what I'm trying to say, don't do a prayers. And if you want to do a shanty and you're going, now I always say, people, go to your religious leader first. Always. Get their opinion,
I
get their
agree.
assessment. And if something don't feel right, then you could contact us or get a second opinion. Or if maybe sometimes those religious leaders weren't trained in this. So you can't blame them.
Exactly. They don't have
Okay.
any knowledge, yeah.
So this is
And I
what-
want to say this as well. I like that you've said, and I think this is important for every aspect of your life across the board. Get a second opinion.
everything. Medical, spiritual,
Exactly.
whatever you're
Get
doing.
a second opinion. Do your homework. Investigate. Don't just give your all. Don't just go to the bank and draw out every black cent that you have. And that's what's happening. People are getting tricked. People are, what they're doing to people is really unethical in terms of milking them, taking all of their money. So, do a little investigation, do a little homework, find out.
And then there's another aspect to this. When we were talking earlier, so we've covered the different parts of blood sacrifice.
Right.
But what about those who do a blood sacrifice to do evil?
Now that's something we need to talk about because that is serious. Because now you
And
are
it's
doing
happening all the time.
blood sacrifice because you are aware you're doing it for darkness, or you're doing it for wrong things, or evil, plain evil, bad energies.
And then in some beliefs, what is the benefit, which I don't agree with at all? Why do they do human sacrifice?
Now that's a very, very solid and deep topic that we've got to talk about.
And I think
Because it's
we only
re-
got 10 minutes.
We-
So what I'm saying, I think we need to do another program on why people go to the dark side.
yeah,
Why don't they stay in the light?
yeah.
What are the benefits? What they think are benefits is going into the dark side.
And what are the consequences to those choices?
And then, is satanic rituals a religion? Yes, it is. That religion has been around since the beginning of time.
Okay.
It's one of the oldest written religions besides Sumerian and Hinduism, right? So this has been around for decades. Then within the satanic rituals, you also have, did you know that there are dark witches and white witches? Now, I'm not talking people. You have
But
witches.
you're talking black and white. So explain that.
Now, everything in spirituality or in the universe is positive or negative.
Correct.
Now, they relate, if you look at the yin and yang in Chinese, one part of the symbol is white, one part of the symbol is black.
Black, correct.
And we are not being racist by no means. I don't know why people even bring that up. I see people as my brother and sister, regardless of who you are. So we are talking now, people, caller, that does not apply to people. It applies to positive, negative.
So does that mean you are white and I'm black, so you're positive and I'm negative?
Well, one, people down here, I don't know. They say I'm white, but they call me Red Man. I don't know why they call me Red Man, because I'm kind of white, but I go along with it, because if you want to call me Red Man, I'm Red Man. That's just a saying down here. You understand? And you're not black,
Well, I'm not white.
Exactly.
So I'm definitely black.
You're caramel.
I'm caramel.
Okay, but we like to joke, people, but this is a serious thing. And when you start mixing with the different energies within the universe, once you play into that energy, you're calling that energy. You are going to attract that energy to you. And if you are not trained, which most people are not, you don't know how to filter the good from the bad. And I want to give you another example, Zelisa. People who get the Shakti or get the power, regardless of the religion or belief. Do you know there's been people lost? Because in that transition, if their chakras are not adjusted properly, and the balance of your prana energy is not sound, and that person's not trained properly, how do they know who or what is channeling inside them? So what you said earlier could have been correct. How do you know who's standing in front of you talking?
Exactly.
And in every belief, they talk about how the negative will mimic the positive.
Exactly.
And this is where people get caught up. And I think in future programs, we may have to identify step by step, item by item, what to look for.
Great.
Okay?
So we look forward to that. Your closing remarks.
One, people, it's been great talking to all of you tonight. I hope this answered quite a bit of questions that maybe you had in this topic. And I always say, get a second opinion. Follow this instinct, this gut feeling you have inside. Because a lot of times people don't understand it, but that's God trying to communicate to you, to give you a sign, maybe to back off a little bit. Get a second opinion. But I'm a firm believer that if you pray with a genuine heart, with your heart, mind, and soul, you don't have to look for people. He is going to put you in a position to go to the right people that you need to get help.
Great.
And Zelisa, even on your TV show in here, it's an honor to be here with you.
Oh.
To converse, because sometimes you'll stick it to me. You do, and that's what people like. They want you to be real. They want you to ask questions what they would ask.
Yeah.
You know. And again, everybody, if you missed it, I know you'd have to replay it to hear me now, but it is going to be on YouTube and also on Facebook. You can look it up. And Zelisa, you want to tell them your Facebook?
I would like to invite each and every one of you to check us out on Conversations with Zelisa T and T. And of course, it's going to live stream on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook as well. More importantly, you can call if you need help or you identify that you are aware that someone you know is hurting, they're in pain, they need help, and they're facing all these challenges and they're in the middle of a storm. Then please share this number, and that of course is 1-868-354-4459. And if you can't get in, because we understand sometimes we're bombarded with calls, then all you've got to do would be to leave a WhatsApp message.
That's the best way.
That's the best thing you can do. Leave a message and we'll certainly get back to you. We thank you kindly for taking the time to join us. Please tell your friends and your family members, and we look forward an invitation already for you to join us next Friday, right here at 6 p.m., broadcasting from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Untold Truths with Master Eric and yours truly, Zelisa.
Good evening, everybody.